Alright guys, so I'm gonna do the wheel bearing, and I haven't started the car in so long. Kind of nervous to start it, but yeah, it's been not even a week, but I drive it every day, so not driving it for, you know, a few days or whatever, it's a long ass time. This is like an ultimate cold start. Yep, sounds rough. No, I'm playing. But yeah, so I gotta turn it around, and then from there, take off the wheel, axle nut, all that stuff. Get to the bearing. Alright guys, so I just limped it around, and even though I don't have brake pads, the e-brake, and you just gotta make sure you don't crash into anything. But yeah, so rented tool, power built, four-wheel drive, bearing remover and installer set, and we'll get to this after. I'm going to be using my little 750 watt inverter by Syntec, Harbor Freight Special. Love this thing. And a grinder to get off the inner race, and my new bearing. Might as well do like a little unboxing while I'm at it. I already took it out, and honestly I don't even know the size that it should be, but part numbers, you know, they don't lie. Descriptions lie, but part numbers, they don't lie. Yeah, so there it is, and coil right there, and best of all, Japan. And then I got my cheap ceramic brake pads. That's eBay special for the backs. Alright, so now that I got that out of the way, it's time to take off. The first thing is your wheel nut. Always take off the wheel nut before you raise the car. Do not do anything before that. Don't raise the car or nothing, because you want to take it off. And then it's going to be the lug nuts, and then raise it up and support it properly. In my case, I have a block of wood that I just set under there, and I just lean it on the wood, and it's good enough. Alright guys, so I'm going to be using this for the axle nut. Let's see if it takes it off. I'm not even going to start the car, just give it a few zaps from the battery, and let's see if it takes it off. But yeah. Nope. Alright guys, so it was a total pain, but I was trying with the breaker, kept on flexing. Then I tried again with the impact wrench, and yeah, I got it off. So that thing was seized on there because I guess the bearing was getting pretty hot. But yeah, I put a little engine oil, worked pretty good. Alright guys, so at this point it's pretty self-explanatory. Just I'm gonna take off the caliper, gonna take off break the lower ball joint loose, upper right here, ABS sensor, tie rod, and basically take off the whole spindle. Take it off. It's a good thing I got off this axle nut. That's starting to worry me though, because these breaker bars just kind of like flex, and I don't have a pipe. But yeah, so I'm gonna take everything off, and then I'm gonna work on getting off the hub by just hammering it out. So 10 minutes later, I'm almost there. Alright guys, so finally got it out, and man, this bearing is absolutely shot. That thing is like pretty much almost seized, and it's very notchy. Like I can't even spin it without it getting stuck. Right there, it's stuck. Like every time the ball falls like in a groove or something. But yeah, so now it's time to knock it out of here, take out the hub. Alright guys, so we got the kit right here, and basically what I have the long bolt that goes through, washer, this spacer that goes in between there, and it's gonna go right there, gonna push out the outer race, and I have this little one that's gonna snag onto the inner and or the back of the outer race and put that in. That's basically my setup. Hopefully it works. So let's see. Alright guys, so I've been messing around with this for a long ass time already, and finally it came to the conclusion that you need the back race. So you need the inner race with the actual bearing, and then you could finally get that to go on there, and that's how you press out the inner race. Because what I was doing, I took out everything and I couldn't really get behind the inner race to push it out. All these different sizes did not work, so I finally had to like think really hard. So I put back the bearings, put in the inner race, and now I could finally push it with enough force to actually get it out. Jesus Christ, this is kind of stressful. It's crazy. Well, that's basically how it looks right there. Got the nut, washer, little plate, the race and the bearings in there, the sleeve and another one, and yeah, there you go. So that's the final way, and then now I'm just gonna grab this, some pliers, this with the crescent wrench, and should be good. Alright guys, so I really can't record me taking this stuff out. Finally got the outer race out, and excuse my language, but this is a pretty shitty, painful situation, just to say the least. But it's coming out. So I got that race right there. Next race is right here, and then I could finally get busy pressing in the bearing, so should be good. So yeah, so that's the biggest step that I could actually say, is to when the race is inside, put the bearings in, and then put the inner race, and then you could press the inner race. Because the way I guess the Integra is designed, it's like that small, so you can't really get anything to actually push on the outer race. But when you put that, you could hit the inner race or press it out. I've seen people do either or, but yeah, so that's how you could actually get the outer race out. So now I'm gonna clean up the bores right here. I notice it's all like gummed up and rusty, so probably gonna get a little sandpaper to that, like some 400 grit and some WD-40, clean it up, and it's gonna be ready for the bearing. Alright guys, so I cleaned up the bore real nice with some 600 grit sandpaper, and I do see a little imperfection right there, and that was actually like a gouge or something, so I had to sand it down a little bit just so it won't hang up on the bearing. But besides that, everything's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna install the bearing on there, make sure it seats all the way down, and then I'm gonna put the hub and then press the hub on, and that's easier said than done, but it should be good. Next I'm gonna be working on this to get that inner race off the hub, and I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna try and break that. Let's see. My shoe caught on fire. I looked down and my shoe was literally on fire. So I guess that's kind of good enough. I guess just gotta chisel that off now. Hopefully it breaks. So at this point what I did is put the hammer there, hammered in back of the hammer, and it came right off. So that's the other race right there. Kind of damaged the hub, but I think that's all good. It's not going to do any harm. So now I'm going to give this a quick little sanding, 600 grit, just to get all that grime off, and install this thing now. Finally got it. Alright guys, so I'm about to install the bearing. I'm basically going to use this one. This outer lip right here pushes on that race right there. Instead of pushing on this one, it's going to push on the outer to push right into the hub. I'm not really sure which way to install it. I've seen this side in, this side in, this side out, that side out, and then I've seen the dust shields on both rubber. This one has 1 and 1. I'm honestly just going to put this side on the outside. If it's wrong, oh well. But yeah, I'm just gonna go like that. But now it's time to install, and I'm not really gonna post it because it's gonna be a grueling task trying to wrench that thing on and press it in. But yeah. Alright guys, so I got the fresh bearing in, and I'm out of breath, and this is the worst thing I've ever done to my car. It's just draining. It's horrible. So now it's time for the actual thing, and by the way, it took me about 45 minutes to put this bearing in, but it's nice and tight though. Finally, I already cleaned this up. That little gouge, I believe the bearing was replaced before. I just got a fine flat file and filed it right there to match the profile of everything else. 600 grit, just a light pass over. You don't want to take off material, you just want to take off like rust and like, you know, imperfections that are like above the surface, pits and stuff. And now that goes in like that. And this is a smooth bearing. So now it's time to press that in, and time to install. My back is completely shot. Actually, I take that back. I was actually going to use this one to go over the whole thing, but I remembered that you can't go on the outer side and push on the inner race. So I got this one to go on the inner race. That one's going to go on the inner race, and then they're just going to push it together. So yeah, you got to use a smaller one. And just while I was going to install this, I forgot the snap ring. That would have been bad. So I got to install this. But it's a good thing it's not even pressed on. So got the little snap ring in there. Had to make sure, because if you don't put it in, you tighten this down, the axle could make the bearing walk, putting stress on the seal, and the axle could be rubbing against this, and you don't want that. So that holds the bearing in, so make sure that's in. So everything's good. Now it's time to install. Alright guys, so The bearing is on, and it is super smooth. No noise, no play, nothing. Compared to before, man, the thing was shot. So now it's time to throw it on and enjoy the car once again. Alright guys, so next video is gonna be new brakes, and should be good. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.